Hello and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. I am Paula Denoncourt, your host, founder and CEO of Enrich Your Health. I'm a holistic health coach. I help my clients stop living a life of pain and suffering, and I do that through giving simple dietary tips with simple recipes and lifestyle tips as well. My clients don't need to live in a life of pain and suffering needlessly. So that's where I come in. I myself suffered from multiple food allergies, and one of the things I was missing was simple recipes. So if you're looking for simple recipes, I can customize them for you, or I have some digital ebooks and recipe books on my website, enrichyourhealth.com. ENRICHURHEALTH.com if you're listening. So you can go over there, you can go over to the store, you can get a free gift, Reversing Illness digital ebook. You can get a 6-day immunity meal plan guide. If by chance the store is empty, I apologize. I have to update that. Go to the other store. There is stuff there, I promise you. So if you haven't seen the show before, I've decided to do this show on overcoming illness because there's so many people out there that are going through an illness or have gone through an illness. And we need their stories. We need to hear what they've gone through. So if you haven't seen the show, please go back and watch the replays. I've had amazing guests. We have a book coming out with some amazing guests. Please go watch those replays called Activate Your Faith, Witness a Generational Turnaround. Those people have gone through strokes, kidney disease, diabetic retinopathy, airplane crash. So just stay tuned for the book. It's going to be amazing. But we have some sneak peeks coming out. So I don't want to prolong my guest tonight. I'm excited to have her tonight. We met a few years ago, and this woman is an amazing, amazing entrepreneur, but she too has gone through some health challenges. And so she's going to tell us a little bit about that. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Stevie first, and then we will tell you a little bit about her health challenges. So Dr. Stevie Mills, whichever name you choose to address her, just Stevie or Stevie Aisha Mills, is whichever you decide to address her. She is sure to respond with respect, grace, and a smile. And that is so true. She's always smiling. Stevie holds a unique and valuable space in the world. She loves God, business, and people. She's a rare combination of expertise, compassion, high energy, and integral work ethic. She is well known for her Southern drawl, loving her parents, Fred Mills, her dad, Karen Mills, her mom, and being a gifted communicator and connector. As an author, she is noted as Amazon's best-selling author. She first landed on the bestseller list with her very first book, Cultivating Your It Factor. 14 must-haves to discover, define, and refine your signature brand, published in 2015. She is currently publishing her, are you guys ready for this? 30th book, Click to Cash, Volume 3. I can't even imagine 30 books. You're young. You are young. It's so amazing. As a social media influencer, Stevie is founder of the Click to Cash Crew, a Facebook community of nearly 2,500 Christian women entrepreneurs that she cultivated organically. And I will say that is an amazing group because I'm in it or have been in it. From this core group, Stevie has been able to launch Christian Moneymakers, the Penthouse, the Yacht Club, Living the Life I Love Ambassadors, and Click to Cash Camp. All communities that are designed to support women of faith to use their knowledge and expertise to make money online. She believes in her mission to support those who she connects with, that she made Click to Cash a registered trademark and with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. She's not playing. As a woman of faith, Stevie believes in her causes and clients and entrusts all of her businesses, moves and methods, to the God that she serves. She's a woman of integrity and honor, a woman of commitment and clarity, a woman of fabulosity and fun, a voice for the people she serves, a woman a vision, who sees the potential in everyone and everything. This is a gift that qualifies Stevie to help others to get and remain visible. Dr. Stevie Aisha Mills is a necessary addition to all stages in her life. Her experience and her expertise are certain to bring change where it is needed. So we welcome you, Dr. Stevie. Thank you so much for being on with us tonight.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. Congratulations to you, Paula, and thank you for reading all that, y'all. Listen, I said, this is a long bio. Take what you need.
No, you know what? It flowed. So I just went with it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Stevie, like where you grew up, maybe, where you live now, and a little bit about your family.
The funny thing is where I was born and where I live is the same place, but I always say that I'm a boomerang kid. So I was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, raised in Roanoke, Virginia, boomerang back to Greensboro, North Carolina, boomerang to Roanoke again.
Oh,
and
wow.
now I'm back in Greensboro. So between those two places, I have bits of my life, and family is such a blessing. Thank you so much for reading about my parents. They are definitely important to me. My father passed away last year. So even when, we talked about coming on your show, it's some things that I had to go through for grief that I didn't even remember to tell you. So I pray that we're able to talk about that and the illness that came from that as well. But what happened in my life is that I was only oldest. I'm an only child by my mother, the oldest child from my father, and that's been a dichotomy of my life. Also, my dad has a larger family. It was 9 of them. I have about 40 cousins, all
Wow.
probably more than 40 now. My mother comes from a small family of all women.
Oh, wow.
So I have one uncle still living, but it's a small family, probably now about 5 people, 6 people. So you see the dichotomy. So I just thank God that I have lived a life where I was able to be planted in both worlds of everything. I've been able to really relate to a lot of different people because I have a lot of different experiences. And so that's who I am.
And it's funny you should say that, because my parents kind of similar. My dad was like very poor. He grew up in the poor side of Worcester, Massachusetts, and my mom was very well off. She was adopted. Her mom and dad gave her everything. She shopped at the best of stores and everything, and they always used to joke about it that she really was on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
So it's funny you should say that, because my dad had a saying: we weren't poor because we didn't know we were poor. He had one for forever, until he did get married. I mean, that was it. They didn't know they were poor. They thought it was a luxury to get orange cheese or whatever it was. They had food, right? It's amazing what your mindset can do. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you had a little bit of health challenges. You went through 3 colonoscopies? Let me see. 3 colonoscopies in 30 days, which that's a lot, 1 month. And then 2 in 24 hours, and you had shingles. So please tell us about your health challenges, and then we'll talk about all your accomplishments and where you are now.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. So back in 2009, I entered the corporate field and worked for a corporate company. And my parents, growing up, I was very much free-spirited. I'm still very much free-spirited. And I didn't know what corporate America was about. I was told, go to school and get a good job. And that's what I thought I did. And so when I got that job, I literally felt like a caged bird inside of it, because that was the first time I really experienced work in that regard. That people tell you what to do, when to go to the bathroom, when to eat. Like, it was so much for me that I was not used to that. So my body reacted in the form of stress. And so stress and anxiety have been interesting things for me to get over for many parts of my life. And for me, that mental stress and anxiety clearly turn into physical manifestation. So at the age of 30 is when this happened. And just historically, if you know anything about colonoscopies, that happens much later in life normally.
Right.
So at the age of 30, I was a size 14, shifted to a size 0. My body was reacting like I may
Ooh,
not have been here today to even talk to you about that had it not been for the Lord. But for me to go through that, for me to go through shingles at that age, again, something that people get much later in life normally. And what happened was that when I got shingles, that's when the stress, because we didn't know, Paula, what was going on. My body just shut down, literally. I was
yeah,
not producing waste of any sort. So for me to just automatically, seemingly overnight, do that, and then also just not know what's going on. When I got shingles, that's when my doctor was like, "Have you been stressed?" And interestingly enough, I did not know what stress was. I
yeah,
had never lived a life to be stressed out. My parents were very open about different things and raising me, so I had a lot of just uniqueness when it came to my childhood. So when I got into a space of stress, I just didn't know how to react to that. And that's why I'm a good ambassador of living a stress-free life now. And the other part of the illness in my own life is fast forward to last year
right.
when my father passed away. I literally had a lot of anxiety going on for a lot of reasons. This was, I am very close to my parents, even to put them in my bio is very important to me. And so when he passed away, I was stressed out to the point where welts were forming on my body because it was manifesting physically. I was anxious. I had to really like go deep inside of I was having an allergic reaction to my emotions, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so when I was grieving and going through this higher level, not only was I grieving the loss of my father, but also my business was taking a turn for the worse during this time. So I'm grieving the business, I'm grieving my father all at the same time.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I watched you and I could tell how close you were to your dad and how hard that was for you. You were going through a lot. Like I could really see it in your posts, in your Facebook posts. It's not an easy thing. My dad was taken from me when I was really young too. I think I was, I don't know, maybe 21, 22. I forget the exact age, but he was hit by a van.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry.
yeah, so he was only like 59. So it was just like, boom, you just, boom, just gone. Like, what? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, you just, very hard to grasp. But, um, I wasn't close with my dad, but close enough. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I get when that happens, I can't even explain it. Your whole life changes. I talked a little bit about this, I don't know, one of my previous broadcasts, I can't remember which one, but I did say it did strengthen me because
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I was a princess. I still
Mm-hmm.
lived at home. My dad didn't make me shovel snow, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little bit here and there, but not much, right? I'm in Massachusetts at the time. I didn't have to rake the yard. Mom and
Mm-hmm.
dad didn't make me do that. Didn't have to change my own oil in the
Mm-hmm.
car, go get oil changes. My dad would do that. I didn't put gas in the car. Dad would do that. He did everything for me. But did
Mm-hmm.
I realize it when he was alive? No.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little princess. So
Mm-hmm.
your whole life shifts and change. But I will say it did strengthen me. So I don't know if you feel that way. You'll always miss your dad. Never goes away. I mean, Thanksgiving's around the corner. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'm going to be thinking of my family. But it just it never, it just shifts you. It changes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You
Hmm.
become who you were before the loss is not who you are after the loss.
Right. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that with the audience because I think a lot of people need to hear that, how you can get ill from being stressed, for one, being in corporate. I worked in a prison, for anybody who hasn't watched the show before, and I got stressed out to the max. And like you say, your body shuts down. So I suffered from multiple food allergies. So I would almost die literally on the job. So one thing I always say, Dr. Stevie, if you still are in corporate, there's a couple things you can do. Either A, find another position in that job. You know, maybe there's something else you can do that's not as stressful. Find a way to relieve the stress, whether it's prayer or doing some things that you enjoy. And, you know, start looking for another job. Start finding ways to make money elsewhere. Be your own self-employed person, where you, Dr. Stevie, can help somebody do that. So there's a few ways that you can change what's happening in the corporate world if you're still there and you're like, I can't, you know, I can't quit, whatever. What else can you do? Can you shift job positions? I did do that, matter of fact. I went from working as a dispatcher, which was extremely stressful, to an administrative assistant for, I think it was like 6 years. Unfortunately, because of budget cuts, I got shifted back to dispatch for 3 more years. So, but at least it gave me a break. You know, I got out of it for a while. And then when I was back in dispatch, it was 7 to 3 as opposed to 3 to 11. Believe it or not, that was less stressful. What people were on, I wasn't dealing with like, you know, on the whim stuff like, okay, we're having a riot, let's go. You know, I'm the only one here. I got to make all these decisions. There are like 6 people on it, you know, during the day. So it was different. It was a different stress. During the day, it was just the phones ring off the wall. So anyway.
I love what you're saying though, because for one, I think for people take for granted even things like that, like what you're saying. Some people, 7 to 3 is the perfect time for a lot of people. And even that switch, like really knowing yourself, I think is the basis of everything. At that time, I was pretty much accepting anything that people gave me, honestly. So when that job came around, it was like, yeah, I want it. It was at that time a good amount of money for me coming straight out of grad school. It was literally, and that was the other thing. I from kindergarten to grad school, I'd been in school. So going out to work for somebody, that was a shock to my system, literally. And so I think even thinking about how you are as a person is very important because, you know, Bible study was a big thing for me back then, and I couldn't go to Bible study. So my quality of life was very much shaken, and I didn't know how to deal with it. But now, you know, I really look at certain things. So even though I took a position now with a nonprofit organization, it's work that I love to do. I can do it from my home, from the office. It's very flexible. I can make my own schedule. Like these are things that are very important to me. And I had to learn that in the journey. And I think sometimes people overlook also, like if you looked at me, of course, people can know I went from a size 14 to a size 0. That's very visible. But even with that, nobody really knew except for people very close to me what I was going through. And so people make their own snap judgments about however they are and what they think and all these things because it's not a visible thing that someone can look at and see. They're like, oh, maybe you need to stop eating fast food, or maybe you need this, or maybe, and they're making all these judgments and not knowing what's going on. So I think also we just have to be very much understanding and compassionate as people.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. You know, I mean, even my mother used to hate her job. My dad was always like, quit that darn job. And it was only a part-time job, you know, but she wouldn't do anything about it. She was just, you know, what's she gonna do? She was older, you know, that's all she could do. But every day she'd complain. And my father was like, just quit. But sometimes you can't just quit. So that's why I said, if you're out there and you can't just quit, well, what else can you do? Start to work your way out of it. Either get another position in the company, get another job altogether, or start to do side hustles that you might be able to jump ship afterwards. You know, not saying just jump ship. It's not the easiest thing. I did it and look where it landed me. I had to go back to work in another job, but it's okay. You know, everything's a learning experience. And one last thing I'll say about that, look at your job as an assignment. What are you learning from it? You know, like the job I'm doing right now, I'm learning a lot of stuff. Like how to have patience with people for one. You know, so if it's my own business, I'm gonna have to have patience with people. There's no difference. So start to look at your job as an assignment too. Like, even if you don't love it, what can you learn from it? Say you do go on to be an entrepreneur and have your own business or businesses. What can you learn from what you're doing right now so you are able to jump that ship? So I just want to leave it on that note. And then let's shift gears a little bit. Let's give the people hope where you are now and what's going on, and how you got there. You had a long list of things and accomplishments, so let's talk about that. So in your journey in writing spans of 30 books, how has your writing evolved since your first bestseller, Cultivating Your It Factor? And what lessons have you gathered along the way?
Okay, so I never wanted to be an author, funny enough. 30 books later, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I just kind of fell into that, honestly. I didn't want this. So I love being a parallelpreneur. But according to the book and the question you asked me, I think I've become more perfected when it comes to writing. Writing is a skill for sure. And as my day job is as a literacy coordinator for adult basic education program. So being able to see people read and write and understand what, some people have struggles in that. It's been a blessing that I've been able to do that for many, many years. But I think the biggest thing is to be consistent, to realize that you have to be open to whatever path God has for your life. Had I taken the path that Stevie had, I would have been in corporate climbing. I would have been in a whole nother position, but that would have not led me to this conversation. I would have met the people like yourself who weren't in that. So I think I had to be very much open to the life God had for me and very fluid and flexible. I think the hard skills that I learned definitely were to write what I wanted to say and to be able to use a book as a medium to leverage my opportunities to get to the places I wanted to in life and business.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's, I never thought I'd be writing either, to be honest with you. And it was something that was prophesied to me years ago. And here's the funny thing. I love the Lord too. I'm a prophetic vessel for people that don't know it. But years ago, was I where I am now? No. So I had prophetic people telling me, you're going to write about the Lord and things like, and I'm going, what? I'm going to do what? And I have. I mean, my last book was, but God, I'm still here. So you just never know where God's going to take you. And it's so amazing. It's so amazing. So let's go to the next one. So the Click to Cash crew has grown into several vibrant communities. How did your initial vision for this group transform into what it is today? And what fundamental values drive these communities?
Awesome. The fundamental values that drive it definitely are about the Lord. That's the fundamental value for sure. For me, I believe, like you said a few moments ago, that it all is the assignment, right? So the job that you're in, the business you have, the ministry, whatever, even the life you live, I feel like as Christians, we have to live a life that's of example and of testimony. So everything that I do, including those communities, that's literally me being in a space where I'm like, okay, let me think about how I could bless somebody more. How can I evangelize, quote unquote, to each people? How can I share part of my testimony to move somebody further? And honestly, when that group started, it was a Facebook group that had 0 people in it.
I remember.
So for us to go to 2,500 people and to have all these things happen, that's nothing but the Lord. And I think my job upon this earth is to continue to point to the Lord with all the accolades. That's why when people read it, I'm like, that's nothing but the Lord. Like, honestly, because it wasn't my choice. It wasn't something that I said, let me set out on this path to do. But I think the thing that has stayed in commitment with this group, even through COVID, because, a lot of it was done through COVID, is that we had a safe place to express ourselves as Christian women. I think a lot of times in the marketplace, people now are getting to talk about religion and the love for the Lord more. But I think entrepreneurship and Christianity didn't really mesh a lot in people's minds. And for me, I wanted to have a space where we can show all of us.
Yeah, it's an amazing group, like I said. I mean,
Thank you.
and I watched it grow too. I remember you just like putting it together, and I was there, and I'm like, that just like grew overnight. It grew overnight. I'm a witness. Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
So what made you register Click to Cash as a trademark? And how does it reflect a deep commitment? How has this philosophy of turning clicks into cash influenced your approach to business and life?
Ooh, when I was in a place where I was evicted from my home because I could not figure out how to make $800 in 30 days back in 2016, I had to learn how to click the cash.
Right.
And the book, Click the Cash, is definitely something that the Lord did. Like, I was in the process of writing this particular book, but it was going to be more based on virtual events because I love to do virtual events. And literally, in the space of me creating the book, God said, click the cash. Like, I heard those words just like I hear my
Wow.
own name, hear this conversation. And it just became something where I'm like, I went to a website to see if that was there. I went to, to Google it and I didn't see anything. And so at that point, Paula, I had two other trademarks that I thought were going to be registered, but it was registered under the wrong class. So I couldn't, it
Wow.
wasn't something that I could hold on to for that because that wasn't the work I needed to do. So I went and hired an amazing attorney who is a trademark attorney, and she got the trademark for Click the Cash. And it was important for me because I live my life based on that philosophy. I run my business based on that philosophy. And like you said about the side hustles a second ago, my comfortable place is definitely to have a consistent paycheck and have extra money. That's very comfortable for me.
Right.
So I am an advocate of, even if you do have a job that you love, still have money. For one, I like to do things that my paycheck may not always be able to afford. I like to have extra money and not money I just have to live off one check. For two, we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to have more money. So when we click the cash, no matter where you are in this world, you can still make money online. So for me, it's very important to push that message forward. And I wanted to put my money where my mouth was.
So let's back up a little bit. So when you first started to figure out, hey, I can make money besides corporate, I need to do this, I'm getting evicted. What are some of the first things you tried? Like, paint us a picture of that.
That's a great question. So, so I am a big proponent still of this day. I'm a big proponent of direct sales and network marketing. I think it's the easiest way to make money. It's like a business in the box. You don't have to think about all the things you have to think as a full-time built my business from the ground floor entrepreneur. So back then, honestly, what happened when I made the transition in 2009 and 2009 to 2016. 2016 was the year that I got evicted. So I had been an entrepreneur or entrepreneur, as my good friend Saria Avant says. But Mary Kay Cosmetics is where the first thing I did, and it's funny because I don't wear makeup. Look. I don't wear makeup, but I always believed in the mission. My first recruiter, Mary Kay, she came into a meeting. I didn't even know her. I went with one of my good friends to the meeting. She was a sign up. And the lady said, basically, never tried Mary Kay product at all. But she said, listen, you can speak on stages and you can travel. And to me, those are magic words.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever you're pushing, lady, let's try it. So I did very well in that. And for me, I wanted to always dig deeper. I'm like, this is amazing and such a great thing, but I want to do more empowerment. So through that vision with that part of the business, started the Beauty from Head to Toe tour because I wanted to do something that was going to be more empowering, more like personal development. I didn't even know what personal development was at that point. I never heard those words, but that's what it was. And so from $0, I always say, some people say you have to have $1 in a dream. I did not have $1. I had just left my job and just been sick. But I birthed the Beauty from Head to Toe tour, which was a multi-city tour that went from Roanoke, Virginia, Greensboro, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, with me just honestly having people who had some dollars first off and believed in the dream that I was telling them I wanted to do. And so that was in 2011, and people are still talking about that tour to this day. So for me, I just started really clicking the cash even before I knew that was a brand or a business. That was just something that I did because I didn't even know these people who were sewing into the vision. And so being able to do that was very important to me. That's how I literally started making upward movement. And then when COVID hit, I was able to now I've been honestly teaching people how to make money online since I started my business, any part of my business. And I started my business first off teaching teenagers, like having workshops and different things to teenagers, not Christian women. That came later. But for me, the opportunity from 2009 all the way to 2020, I had all this knowledge, but people were not worried about making money online as much as they had to when COVID hit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And even now, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's so much AI coming out. I don't know about you, but I can't keep up with it. Right now, there's we've got ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 5 is coming out. It's able to do text to images. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, what's that going to do to the job industry, right? I answer phones for grocery stores full time. Eventually that could be a robot. It already is half a robot. You get the automation when you first call. So eventually that could just be all robotic. You've got a problem with a product, press 1. And I don't know how the robot will do it, but it will be programmed. Maybe put the UPC number in there or something, and then it'll go to the category manager. I don't know. But, my job could be eliminated tomorrow. So I have to work on a plan so that I'm ready if it is. A lot of our jobs, especially any administrative work, graphic artists. Oh my gosh, there's so much AI right now. I feel bad for people that are wonderful artists because people going crazy with AI. But here's the funny thing: some people that are artists, it's making them be a better artist with AI. Some people you can tell. That they already were good at their artwork and that this just enhanced it. But then there's some people out there that can't do art worth anything and they're doing AI and now they can do stuff. So it's a catch-22, it can be good and it can be bad, whichever. But
absolutely.
Yeah, we need to learn how to be able to pivot, and listen to God and where he's telling you to go and lead you. Yep.
Amen.
Yep, definitely. And this kind of leads me into the next question. Faith plays a significant role in your endeavors. How do you balance your beliefs with the dynamics of entrepreneurship and the digital landscape?
Ooh. I think for me, being able to know exactly, honestly, to trust God. So every move that I've ever made since I really knew God, even when I was out here being wild in the world, has been God led, honestly. Like I know and I see some things that happen and then I'm able to pivot. And the good thing about what God has created in me is that I pivot quickly. Like I know I'm not afraid of change. It's just something that happens. So I'm able to pivot on a dime and I'm able to take the information that I have. And one thing, this brings up a point I wanted to say too, when you said about learning on the job and different skills. What I would encourage people to do is definitely take advantage of any higher learning that your job has. I am a big believer in the fact that school is never out for the pro. So even in my adult literacy role that I hadn't done adult literacy before in this regard. I've always been able to teach adults. I know how that goes because that's what I spent my business doing. But I'm able now to take some digital classes and different things so that I can have that information in my mind. And I think that we as entrepreneurs have to be on the cutting edge of digital Like, we know it's not going away.
Right.
We know that the Jetsons cartoon is coming true. We've seen some of those things happen. And so we have to look at it like that and realize that digital literacy is a skill. Like, this is literally a skill. Somebody who is a dear friend of mine, she was telling me that she had spent time helping businesses basically who are brick and mortar locations to get their systems up to date. Because if you know, like I know, back in the day, we had like actually registers. Like it was a real thing. It wasn't a POS system. And
Right.
so a lot of businesses don't even know how to do that. Many entrepreneurs know how to do what they do. That's it. If you know how to cut hair, you know how to cut hair. You don't know anything else about many of the things that have business. If you know how to cook, you know how to cook, whatever it is. But there are people who can make money because they know how to get people online. There are people who, like, even grants and different things coming out because you know how to use Chat GPT and you know how to use it well. So one thing I always say is to have multiple streams of income. And I always say stay on the cutting edge, specifically when it comes to digital, and to have the faith to pray to God that He showed you exactly where you need to plant your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you just brought me back in time because I worked in retail back in the day, and we had regular cash registers too. And now it's so funny because like I said, I answer phones at grocery stores, and every once in a while you'll get a customer complaining they didn't even know how to give me change because it's all like
Yeah, true.
and
True. People don't know how to count. The other part of that is never let go of the old ways. Someone asked me yesterday about how I felt about cursive being taken out of school. So I'm like, you know, for example, technology works until it doesn't. So if you are somebody who, of course, we have DocuSign, different things that you can sign, but if that goes down, you need to know how to sign your name. And
right.
so that's the thing with the money. If you don't know how to count money, of course, technology makes it easier. They'll tell you. But if you don't know how to, you still need to know the basics of life. Some things are just foundational through the test of time.
Yeah, I feel like we're not taught enough about money. Like I even went to I forgot what it was called, some kind of financial class later in life. I was in my 40s at college. I'm back to college, like I think in my 40s. And I took a financial class, right? Guess what that class was?
What?
It was the most ridiculous class I ever taken in my life. Here I was thinking, okay, I'm going to get my finances in order. I'm going to learn better how to do stocks, how to just learn more, right? It was all algebra. It was all equations. You're not going to learn how to do stock and investments and all this with equations. Maybe a really brilliant mind will, but the average person isn't going to. Oh, I was so frustrated with that. What was it called? Managerial finance, I think, was the name of the course.
Wow.
How misleading.
Wow. Wow.
It was
Wow.
terrible. Well, I can see it right now. Like it was just like algebra 2, like all over again. Like, oh my God, this is not what I wanted. I mean, I learned some stuff from it. I learned like I didn't know that you could just keep borrowing on stock and borrowing, you know what I mean? I learned some things from it, but not enough to be where I wanted to be with my finances. I wanted to
Wow.
learn more, and we're not taught. We are not
No.
taught. And now I thank God for people like you that are teaching people how to do, click to cash, basically, how to create your own business and how to make money and thrive from that. Do you
Yeah.
have any like what's the word I want? Do you have any like obstacles or hindrances that you'd want to share, that some things you tried that were like, yeah, nah, that's not going to work after the corporate thing?
Honestly, running business like everybody else, I
Yeah.
have realized that this is my business and I have to run it like I run it. And I think a lot of times, specifically online, because it's so many different online entrepreneurs, you could get caught up looking at stuff. I
Yeah.
remember starting my business, honestly, in 2009, right? That was 14 years ago. So if you think about the landscape of life and business, we didn't have all this let's get online stuff. We had to go to the coffee shop, the meeting place, the networking event, and really build our businesses. And I think a lot of times people, because of so much in your face, that you look at this person's business and you try to duplicate that person, and you take a little bit of this free thing and you put it in, you have disjointed businesses. And so I think what I had to learn was that at the end of the day, honestly, and I am a coach and I believe in coaching. I'm not saying this, but we have to learn how to trust ourselves too. And I also believe that a coach can't one of my coaches said this, so it was really good. But she said people can't coach your anointing. So if you're anointed to do something, then that's God. That is nobody
Right.
can tell you what to do with that. And I think I had to come to those skills and realize that I had it inside of me to do what I wanted to do. Because you can invest a lot of money. Some investments aren't good, but you can invest a lot and still not come out where you need to be. So you have to be wise and be vigilant and understanding of that. And I think that I spent so much time trying to figure it out instead of just doing what I knew to do.
Yeah, I agree. It's and even now, even still, it's information overload. And now you've got, every time you turn around, somebody sending you a message, hey, join my challenge, join my challenge, it's free. And like, okay, I'll join it. Do you wind up doing it all? Half the time, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that sounds great. They're like, yeah, no, I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
And especially
Absolutely.
if it's free, as you know, you're not gonna do as much when it's free. You're like, yeah, I didn't pay for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yep.
when you pay
Mm-hmm.
for it, you're there. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
in this group right now. It started off as 30 days of prayer, 60 days of prayer. Now we're on 90. We're also going to do December, I think. And it's all prayer and your businesses. So we're learning how to just go back in the biblical sense, but also how to pray for our business and our life, all, like all of it, a better way, a
Mm-hmm.
much better way. Like pray for the clients that are going to come to you. What are they going
Mm-hmm.
to need? Like how, just, it's just so amazing. It's the most incredible thing. It's with Anise Silliman, and she doesn't even have notes. Like she wakes up, we get up 5 a.m. Well, a little bit before 5, plug in at 5 a.m. every day. No weekends off.
Wow.
And she just goes through scripture, no notes, no nothing. God just tells her what to do, what we're going to pray about. And I have like notes galore.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something that, of course, it won't, when it is done, it won't be done, because I will be going back with those scriptures and praying over them and praying through my business. That's another thing that's not taught. Nobody
Yeah.
teaches. And, we taught somewhat to pray, okay, I need clients. God, help me find my clients, or just declare, okay, I have this many clients, whatever. But we don't pray about those clients that might be coming. Who are they? What issues do they have?
Yeah.
How am I going to help them? So it goes a little deeper. And
That's
I just thought,
awesome.
so amazing. That just blew me away. I was like,
That's
oh, I
awesome.
would have never thought of that. Yeah. So
I
it's
love
pretty,
it.
yeah, it is. It's pretty incredible. So let's see. I think you just answered this one kind of. It says your bio paints a picture of a multifaceted individual to share a personal professional challenge you face that helped shape the dedication to becoming a voice for change and visibility. Well, I'll just add to that, since you just kind of answered that a little bit. Give us a couple testimonials of people that you've helped, like that really just stuck in your head of, wow, I helped them do that. Look at where they are now.
Yes, I love my clients. It is funny because I am the type of person who I'm not your coach to stay for years and years and years. Like we're not I'm gonna give you the cheat code. I'm gonna give you the thing that you need and send you on your way. It's
Right.
just you're gonna be supercharged by that. But I think for me, one of the testimonials I had, which was amazing, was an older client who had been out here trying to figure it out for years. And she told me that in the time that we had met, which I think at that time was like 2, 3 months, that she had made more money in her business than she ever had. And for me, that was amazing because that was
Yeah,
during COVID for one, and people, you know, businesses were shutting down. She was making
right.
money, but also that she was able to see, like for me, I love to see a return on investment. I want you to make money. That's the whole goal here. But that was important. And then I love when my clients who are married women always tell me that their husbands say, "What does Stevie say?" Like to me, that's very cool because you know
Aw.
men think differently, and
Mhm.
they think they're more bottom line people a lot of times. So the fact that they're saying that and asking that and like let's bring it back to Stevie, I love that. So just so many different ones. I love the testimonials of people being able to get the easy button pushed on entrepreneurship is very important to me because I think sometimes it can be nebulous, it can be confusing. People sometimes even try to confuse you on purpose so you can still pay them. But I want people to know that making money does not have to be hard. Like literally, let's go out here and make you some money.
Yeah, I love that. That's like I said, we're not taught. You know, a lot of us do work in corporate jobs or 9 to 5 jobs for a very long time, and either something happens to us that we want to pivot, or we felt like we're called to pivot, but we've never dealt with business before. Like for me, you really want to laugh. I mean, I worked in a prison for 22 years. When people told me, I don't know if you've heard of BNI, Business
Mm-hmm,
Network.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For anybody out there who has never heard of that, it's Business Networking International. They meet once a week at 7 a.m. Now, mind you, I worked 3 to 11 for a lot of years. I did work 7 to 3 for a little while, but I'm like, I got to do what? Get up at what time and meet who? What is I had no clue that there was like this little underground world of businesses that meet. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about the Chamber of Commerce. Here they, they're in my own city. I knew nothing about them, So I would say if you are thinking about starting your own business, start to learn the foundation. Start to learn things in your community, the Chamber of Commerce, the networks that you can start connecting to before you even do anything, before you even start the business. You know what I mean? Start talking to people. What's it going to take? What kind of structure you're going to need. I didn't know anything about even if, by having an LLC, you can get funding. I knew nothing. I didn't know. I'm like, what's an LLC? What's an S Corp? I knew nothing about this stuff. And I went to the School of Integrative Nutrition, and they did give us a little bit of business knowledge, but not the foundation. So I just think that's huge because when you get that foundation, because I think for me, you know what, I actually was under the impression at first, not anymore, that the only money I'm going to make is from my clients.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other things, you know what I mean? There's so much other ways to get funding. So I just wanted to add that because now that you've told people that it's not that hard to make money, you might need more than one business. You might need
Yeah.
one business to help fund another one. Like I just started tapping into business funding for people.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually get funding for one business to start another as long as you qualify, so you don't need to get the funding just for that business that you want to start. There's so many different things. You can get business credit. I knew nothing about any of that stuff. So we need people like you. I'm still learning. The more I learn, the more I'm going to teach as well. I mean, I teach about health as well. Health as well. You got to have all of it. So we only have a few more minutes left. So with that, tell us how your health is now, and then a little bit about how people can get in touch with you and any offerings that you have right now, books, whatever it might be.
Thank you so much. So, yes, I'm happy to report that my health is a lot better.
Yeah.
Amen, praise Jesus. Um, I still am. I just turned 45, so I'm realizing that I'm not 21 any longer. The things I used to be able to do, the backup, comeback I used to have is not there. So I'm working on the rest part. It's very important to me,
Yeah.
and really making sure because I am a go-getter. I like to do things,
Yeah, you do.
but I need to rest and recuperate. That's important, and so
Right.
for me, that is paramount. definitely stay connected to me by going to workwithstevie.com, workwithstevie.com. The way you spell my name is Stevii. And I always tell people to remember the I's in my name stand for increasing income. That way you can go to workwithstevie.com. And I'm super excited. Paula, thank you so much. I love having this conversation. It's very, very, very important. We as
Yeah,
entrepreneurs push. And if you know, out here building businesses, building families, building communities, you have to have these conversations because there are so many people who are suffering in silence, and I don't think
right.
that is good at all. So thank you for bringing this to the forefront so that we can have these conversations. People can know that they're not alone, and
Yep,
we can grow greater as a community, as a world. Definitely, you all make sure you're taking advantage of the information in your minds. I love what Paula is doing. One thing that you struck before I leave, I want to make sure I highlight this, is that it's important to not leave who you are at your job, right? When you
right.
go from one job to the next job, take that knowledge with you and learn to monetize it in some sort of product or service so that you can still be paid. We want to be able to have the quality of life that we want. It costs money and things are not getting cheaper, they are increasing. So we got to increase our income. Thank you again, Paula.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's something one of my mentors says to us too. He says, if your bills start to increase, then you just tell God, okay, I need an increase. Oh, sun's hitting me. I need an increase because my bills are increasing, and then God will increase it. He's done that for me. Like, I can't even tell you how many times, you
Amen.
know. Oh yeah, he just comes through. The sun is hitting me, but that's okay. We're just about to end it. So I just wanted to thank you again, Dr. Stevie, for being here. And this has been incredible. You had such incredible knowledge for everybody. And then last but not least, if you want to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me, either Instagram Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or you can text me 508-330-9665. Let me know, or you can be a sponsor. I'm looking for sponsors coming in the new year. If you want to be a sponsor, we can do that. And if you just need recipes, like you're suffering with food allergies, food intolerances, or even autoimmune issues, or stomach issues, gut issues, please reach out to me. I can give you some simple recipes, and especially if you're a practitioner. So we need your stories. So reach out to me so you can be on the show just like Dr. Stevie. So this was awesome. Thank you again, Dr. Stevie. And we will see you next Sunday. Thank you, everybody. Bye.